the headboard, and once there, frowned at her bedmate. Who the heck was he? She had no idea, but she was relieved to see that he was no bum off the street. He wasn't even one of those "he looked a lot more attractive last night" kind of pickups everyone joked about. This guy was so far above average that she began to wonder why he wasn't already taken. Heaven forbid that was the case. She didn't see a ring on his left hand, which rested on the pillow above his head, but he had to have some story. If he looked this good sleep-tousled, she could only imagine what he'd be like once he had a chance to clean up. It was his bone structure, she decided, those pronounced cheekbones, the narrow bridge across his nicely shaped nose, the distinct ridge of his upper eye sockets. He also had a strong chin and a manly jaw, which certainly didn't detract. So maybe she couldn't point to just one or two features. With his long, sandy-colored hair spread across his pillow, he resembled a fallen angel, and his body further enhanced that image. Although bedding covered his lower half, thank goodness, she could see his torso. He was built like a greyhound or panther, lean and sinewy, and ideally proportioned with very little body hair. What body hair he did have was golden and downy, as appealing as his tanned skin. He'd make a nice subject for a painter, she mused. Someone looking for refined masculine beauty, a man who could even be called elegant. But not everything about him was elegant. When she looked closer, she could see that he had some very unusual scars. What types of injuries could have caused those? She wondered. It seemed to her that he'd been shot, and more than once. Several round, bullet-sized marks dotted his chest. Then there was a long, jagged scar on his side that must have come from something else. Out of nowhere, he didn't open his eyes first, so she had no warning. He grabbed her wrists in a crushing grip and slammed her onto her back. Eve gasped as she stared up at him. Gone was the image of an angel, fallen or otherwise. Shocked at being so easily and unexpectedly overpowered, she couldn't even scream. His fierce expression, as if he was intent on causing her bodily harm, made it worse. Had she brought home a homicidal maniac? Was he about to kill her? The terror that surged up must have shown on her face, because he suddenly came to his senses. He gave his head a shake. His expression cleared, and, letting go, he eased off her and slid back onto his side of the bed. "Sorry about that, I thought." His words trailed off, and he covered his eyes with one arm, as if he needed a moment to pull himself together. Her heart was now pounding in unison with her head, but once she could speak somewhat normally, she prompted him to finish his sentence. "Thought what?" His lips turned down. "Never mind. I was dreaming." She pressed a hand to her chest, as though she could slow her galloping pulse. "It couldn't have been a pleasant dream." "They never are," he muttered. He dropped his arm and looked over at her, and, intriguing as that statement was, she was too concerned about her nudity to pursue more of an explanation. She drew up the blankets, but he didn't seem interested in ogling her. His gaze circled the room, taking in the gauzy fabric that wound around the top of her canopy bed, the Christmas gifts she'd already wrapped and stacked in the corner, the many photographs of friends and family scattered across her dresser, and the plantation shutters she'd recently had installed. He seemed to be taking stock of everything, weighing it, evaluating it, especially the closet and the door leading into the hall, as if he might encounter some threat. "Where am I?" His voice, although more commanding than before, hadn't quite lost the rasp that came from having just awakened. "Whiskey Creek?" He held 3 fingers to his forehead. She guessed he had a headache too, although suddenly she could scarcely feel hers, thanks to that recent burst of adrenaline. "I can remember the town," he said wryly. "It's not like I think I'm in China."